How much can you tell us about the two deep right now? We don't get to see a lot of practice, but who are some guys?
Well, you can probably guess who's running with the ones right now. Guys like Palcho and Julian and Pill and some of those guys that kind of finished spring. Isaiah Adams is up there and been very, very impressed. You know, Jordan Slaughter, Zy Chrysler, all those guys are repping with the first group. Josh Cruz has had a great camp so far. It's kind of the way he finished spring ball. You've seen that carry over, so that's been fun to see him develop every day, get better and better, and then trying to get other guys reps, and guys like Josh Getzky and some of the freshmen and some of the new guys that just got in. I'm pleased with kind of where their foundation is. Now obviously we got to get them better and continue to develop them. That's what we do. So kind of the way it shaped out in spring. A lot of those guys are getting reps because we're only day 5, right? I mean, the first 2 days really have pads, and so we're really not going to make many depth changes until we can see guys get into a scrimmage situation and see how they respond when we're running consistently some extended team periods and some extended hitting and physicality up there. So that's kind of where we are. We're repping a lot of different guys and getting guys kind of see what they can do for us right now.
We got a big group of true freshmen.
Yeah.
Do you see any of those kids that may be ready to contribute early on?
Well, I think we're still very much in learning what they can do, right? And we're certainly, I think, pleased with where they are as a baseline coming in as a freshman. I mean, we evaluated them, we recruited them, and those things that we saw on film hold true. Now we're trying to develop them and get ready to play major college football and help us compete and win a championship here in Illinois. So that's kind of where we are in development stage with those guys, but they're getting better every day and learning how to practice and how to be Big Ten linemen.
When you have such a wide gap in age, like you have Palcho, who's been here 6 years, and Bill, you have 5 freshmen. How do you, I guess, make sure the teaching is all beneficial for everybody, where some of the freshmen may not be as advanced as Palcho or Pill? Like, how do you handle that?
Well, sure, that's a great question. I got to get those first group ready to go. I got to keep pushing Palcho, and there's a little bit of kind of throw them into the fire and learn and kind of throw a bunch at them because the game is chaotic, right? And when you're out there, it's very intense and it can lead to panic if they're not composed. And so those guys got to learn how to slow things down, how to learn, take it step by step. Focus on the details and really focus on their assignment and get better as the offense expands for them. And then we come back and do individual learning and do private teaching and things like that and kind of overlap stuff that they need to continue to work. And then we do developmental periods of practice. They have been able to get some reps in inside drill and individual work and things like that. So it's kind of a twofold process really, and throw it at them and then come back and fill in kind of the gaps.
Can you comment on these freshmen and just the body types you brought in? Just almost every one of them's over 300 pounds. And Palcho even commented, I was 265 as a freshman and asked to do some things. This is different. These are different human beings.
Yeah, they're Big Ten linemen, and that's what we're going for. That's what we're recruiting for. We want massive, mauling, tough, physical, smart players. And that's not saying we're going to recruit a bunch of guys that aren't unathletic and can't move. But we're looking for a specific skill set, and we're looking for people to be able to move the football and change the line of scrimmage. And so that comes with size, that comes with strength, that comes with athleticism, balance, being able to flexibility, mobility, things like that. So that's really what we're looking for.
Is the kid from Denmark, is he a little more advanced than the freshman because of the club ball that he's played?
Mountis is incredibly intelligent. He's very football savvy, for someone that really has not played the American game, growing up over there. But he has played a lot of football, and he's had to teach and coach other players over there. So he's kind of had to do a Reg Dunlop a little bit, player coach Reg Dunlop out there in Denmark. So that's helped him come in here, right? Helped him come in here with the knowledge that he has for the game, really. He's pretty advanced in his football IQ, and it's been allowing us to teach him more things, and now we got to continue to work on his strength and development. But I'm pleased with all those guys. All those guys really, they're smart kids, they're tough kids, they're dependable kids, and when you look at our mantra, that's kind of how it fits. So.
I'm sorry, are you happy with the amount of swing guys that you could have over the course of a 4-month season? I got guys that can play tackle, I got guys that can play kick guard. I can mix and match if I have to throughout the course of the season.
But we've got some versatility, and I think that's the way we recruit, it's the way we train, it's the way we cross-train, it's also the way some of our skill sets are developed, right? The way we do some of our individual work. those type of blocks, those type of techniques, they carry over to various positions based on the look that they're seeing, right? So, yeah, we're going to continue to work that versatility, but things are starting to cement themselves at certain positions as well, right? And that's part of what this early part of camp is to find out where we can fill in those gaps and where guys can maybe help us cross-train. So, and I'm kind of pleased with where the direction we're headed. We're nowhere near where we need to be. Never satisfied, but we're getting better each day, and for that, I'm pleased with the effort.
Is there a position battle at center, or is Alex lock that up in the spring? Or?
There's position battles at every position, including right tackle, and I say that somewhat, not jokingly, but somewhat with a light heart. But guys are always having to push each other, and if somebody's game falls off, like that's what competition breeds, right? So Palcho knows that, Pearl knows that, Phil knows that, right? All those guys know that. Isaiah knows that. We've got a lot of talent, like that guys can play a variety of different positions, so that helps that, and I think that just keeps pushing guys to be better. Kreutz has had a very good camp so far. Phil's had a very good camp so far. We're going to need, our two deep to help us win football games, and so all those guys are going to have a significant role.
Phil
I
is still.
apologize if you got asked this already. The Wyoming connection deal.
Yeah.
How interesting is that for you? Is it fun? Tell me what you're thinking going against the team you know.
Sure. Well, it's exciting for me. I have a tremendous amount of respect for that team, for Coach Bowl and his staff. A lot of those players I recruited, and a lot of them I coached. I know the level of football they play. They play a very tough brand of football out there too. So it's a game that we're going to get up for, because it is a big game. It's a big game for them, big game for us. Two very hard-nosed physical teams, and I'm excited. I'm excited to see what we can do and see where our team here goes. And I'm not really concerning myself with maybe how they are developing, but how my guys are now, and how good we're gonna continue to get. So.
Does it help you that you got an idea about personnel on their team, or I assume there's some major changes to you on that?
Oh, I'm sure they'll have some changes for us, but there is some familiarity, and vice versa, right? That
Right.
Coach Salvell and their team, and I've been together at two different stops, so he knows me very well, and I know him very well. But they're good friends of mine, but there is going to be, I think, some nuances with us, some nuances with them, and it'll lead for a lot of preparation on both sides.
So how's it go? Pre-game, you greet and say hello, and then post-game to say hello, and it's other than that, it's a game, right? It's not.
Oh yeah, well when we're out there on the field,
trying to
when the
kill.
whistle blows and the ball's kicked, we're opponents,
Right.
and we're competitors, and I'd expect the same thing from them to say to me, but before and after, I've got a lot of respect for both, all those guys, Coach Salvell, and Coach Bowl, the two the guys that are in charge of that defense, and they Coach Bowl gave me a shot out there and promoted me, and we enjoyed our time out there, but we're not there now. We're at Illinois.
When you came here, did you look at the schedule pretty quickly and go, oh, that'd be fun or interesting?
Not the year ahead. I did after the season. I
Okay.
kind of knew who we were playing. I
You
was like,
know.
oh, okay. But last year I really wasn't concerned with that. No.
And I noticed you guys aren't going back out there.
I'm glad we're not playing out there. It's 7,200 feet. That's, whew. I walk up the stairs and I'll be out of shape. So.
Coach is an entirely new offense. What are some of the biggest ways that impacts your guys? Maybe the skill sets you're looking for, or how you practice these guys.
That's a good question. What we do and what we teach, from a technique standpoint, from a mentality standpoint, none of that's changing. The scheme and some of that, there's going to always be carryover with any offense that comes in. But there's continual learning, there's new learning that takes place. But the good news is this is year two for us, from a mentality standpoint, from a technique standpoint, from just the simple things like your first step, those things you don't have to reteach. That's a huge carryover to whatever the system we call is. But there's a little bit of learning, but at the same time, the technique and the physicality and mentality is continuing where we left off.
Was the tempo a big adjustment for him, just getting back and getting set?
I think it's always a continual work in progress. We did some tempo last year, with some of our stuff that we did in 21, but not really. These guys were a no tempo team before we got here, so there was a little bit of kind of dusting off the old hat there. But they've embraced everything. Our strength and conditioning staff and what those guys have worked for all summer has helped them tremendously. So, yeah, there's no issues there.
Bill is only really about 8 months into his
Who is?
Alex, as a center. He really started in December.
yeah,
Right?
Bill.
Where have you seen his biggest gains, or where does he still need to go with that position?
His confidence is night and day. Where it is. He's more comfortable in the offense. He's more comfortable making calls. Just the cohesiveness of the unit I think helps. Anytime you lose. There's a void in the leadership role, like Kramer and Velo. Somebody's got to fill that void, and you'd like it to be a guy like Palcho, who does, certainly. Palcho's a fantastic leader, but Palcho doesn't make all the line calls and the IDs and things like that. So our center's got to be able to handle that, and I think just the confidence that Pill has continued to develop through the training, through practice, through knowledge of the offense. Has just made him that much better there. So same thing with Josh, right? Josh has done the same thing. Josh went from kind of playing all over the place to really focusing on one specific thing, and his hard work over the summer. He had kind of a pedestrian first start of spring, and then really turned it on in the second half of spring ball, and he's just continued to do that now in fall camp. So both are intelligent players. That certainly helps. Both are kind of mature beyond their years. So they know how to approach their preparation, which is critical, and those guys have done a nice job.
Palcho do you want to bring him on board and what's he give you?
Right now, Dylan's learning the offense. Right, he came in the summer, and it is so vastly different from what he did at Furman. But tremendously hard worker, very tough, very physical player. Wants so badly to be good. So we're really just working on developing the offense with him, developing some of the technique things. But he's been working in there as well, and kind of seeing where he best fits. But he's going to be able to help us, in a variety of different roles. So we're just kind of seeing where he best fits at the moment.
Coach, the history of offensive line coaches here over the years, there's been a lot of pretty good people.
Yeah.
Is that kind of cool to be part of that line?
Yeah.
Understanding some of these guys.
Absolutely. I mean, he was the O-line coach when I was getting recruited out of high school, and so I met him.
Where was that?
I was at Elk Grove High School.
Okay.
Elk Grove High School, played for a guy named Bruce Bazzali.
Okay. Of course, yeah.
And so I came down here. Osei Lewis was the recruiting guy that recruited me, and so I remember seeing I remember, Luke Buckus, when I got the job, sent me a very nice note, and I don't know Luke other than just by reputation and what he's done here, but I used to watch some of his videos when he was here. I was out, I don't know where I was, FAU or someplace, and just kind of keeping tabs on what that is. But there's been great players here, right? And met some of them that are still now in the community. Some of the alumni have come back. Obviously, there's guys in the NFL, that have come back. Met, Nick, because he's very close with some of those guys, and there is a specific, a certain amount of pride that comes with being a part of that, but also just, knowing Coach B's history. Him and I've been together before, but just the guys that have worked for him, and the line that I'm a part of now at that, right? Guys like Sam Pittman, Bob Bostad, right? Jim Huber, like some of those guys that he's been around are, phenomenal line guys as well. And so, I take a lot of pride in knowing that I work for him in Illinois and a big part of that line.
Yeah, all those guys, they had a string of guys going in the NFL, like for a I assume that's what you wanted to hear. They just did, I guess.
Yeah,
just moved guys on.
Yeah, Coach Bielema and myself, we put a lot of guys in the NFL,
Right.
and both of us, together, separate, right? And I think that we, obviously 2 guys last year, and I think there'll continue to be more, and that's the way we're going to recruit, and that's the way we're going to develop, and that's what we do. We develop linemen, and I think we're always working towards that goal.
Palcho didn't quite look himself last year, especially in pass pro. How's his lateral movement right now? You feel comfortable putting him out on the edge?
I think he's continually getting better and better. Palcho was not healthy last year, and he didn't have an off season. He didn't have really a fall camp, and then you're plugging him in against a new system, new techniques from what they did previously. And any guy's going to struggle there, but he did continue to play hard. He's a tough kid, and we were able to move him around and get Julian up there, which is going to prove valuable this year, because Julian's going to be a big part of what we're doing, and so there's a lot of that there's positive carryover, and he's had an off season with a training, an off season of work, another year learning the system and the techniques. And he's just going to continue to get better and better. He had a great spring, and I'm excited to see what he does this year.
Where has Zai made the biggest gains since getting here?
I think Zai's just discipline and the way he's worked at every challenge we've thrown at him. Obviously a guy that comes in with a tremendous amount of ability, but maybe just a little bit his body needed to develop, and he took that upon himself. That's not an easy thing to do, is to transform your body that way in such a short amount of time, and then still continue to add strength, right? And he's a tremendously coachable person, which is just invaluable for us, because we're able to throw a lot of things at him, and when he makes mistakes, he owns it and continues to try to get better every day. So his development has been very positive. I'm pleased with where he's headed.
From a conditioning standpoint, do you think he can definitely go more snaps than he could in the spring, and he's more of an asset to you at this point?
Oh yeah, I think we all can go more snaps than in the spring, me myself included, right? So, we're continuing. That's what we do over the summer, and is condition, is strength train and develop, and then get more and more practice time, right? And as we get closer and closer to the season, those reps increase, right? You're not taking 4 reps on, 4 reps off. There's extended drives, and there's things of that nature. So we're driving and we're pushing them, and the whole group is getting better and better conditionally. Yeah.
Jordan Slaughter, another guy who had some health issues. How's he looking in camp?
Yeah, Jordan has actually practiced in the spring, which was great. I think he's gaining more and more confidence, and certainly doing some good things out there. I don't see, maybe that hesitation that used to be there, because of a previous injury. We're a year away now from the injury date, and he's continually getting better and better. So I'm pleased with really their mentality, and obviously his return to play, right? His recovery and rehab and all that kind of stuff. And I think he'll tell you the same thing. He's getting better and feeling more confident with it.